edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television, the Senior Divisional Officer for Momo Division in the Northwest region of Cameroon launches a back-to-school campaign. Also ahead, Jean-Michel Ninchu banned from organizing a peaceful protest here in the country's economic capital, Douala. But the Member of Parliament of the Social Democratic Front has maintained that it must take place come September 15, 2018. In the second part of this newscast, we are going to be joined by the President of the AYAH Foundation and spokesperson of the AYAH family, AYAH ABINE. Is just coming back from Nigeria, is going to be telling us about the situation of Cameroonian or English-speaking refugees that are in neighboring Nigeria. Those are headlines. We shall be right back with the details. Stay with us. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television. We thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Let's begin right away in politics. The Social Democratic Front Party is currently holding its next meeting in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. The meeting is grouping party heads, officials of the said political party, and members of the National Executive Committee of the Social Democratic Front. Before we come back to the resolutions of the meeting that is taking place in Yaoundé, it should be noted that Honorable Joshua Osei presented his economic, social, and political programs to media men and women in a press conference which took place in the city of Douala yesterday. What were the reactions of some actors of the civil society who were part of the press conference? Some have simply indicated that he is the right candidate that should be elected by Cameroonians come the 7th of October 2018. Details with Armstrong for Misanda in the following story.
In a highly attended press conference in Douala, the Social Democratic Front's presidential flag bearer presented what many have qualified as a mouth-watering political, social and economic vision for Cameroon ahead of October 7 presidential election in the country. In what could be grouped under 6 major categories, Joshua Osei pledged to engage a contract with the Cameroonian nation for a new Cameroon propelled by will, the need to act and innovation. Joshua Osei plans to boost the purchasing power of Cameroonians by creating a 160,000 francs CFA minimum wage rate and double the salary of civil servants for 5 years, a land title to every Cameroonian family, and stop advance rent payment. He believes Cameroonians need decent work and so plans to create funds to guarantee youth entrepreneurship. He equally pledged free education at some levels in public schools and multiple scholarship schemes to give equal chances and opportunity to Cameroonians irrespective of their socio-political standings. On the form of state and a new Cameroon in diversity, Joshua Osei proposed a 10-state federation and under which he will relocate some structures to where they are most needed. He also has plans to delocalize the Central Regional Headquarters from Yaoundé to any other town within the Central Region. Osei plans to give power and force to the local population. He will create a federal currency, federate defense, natural resources, higher education, justice, telecommunication, police, citizenship, finance and school curriculum. He believes an inclusive government entails institutional reforms, which is what he will do with steps such as that to close the National Advanced School of Administration and Magistracy in Nam. Civil society actors and analytical journalists present at the event, like Ako John Ako and Prince Joel Mokake, said Osei Joshua's manifesto addresses the need of Cameroonians.
I find the program of Joshua Osei pertinent. At the beginning, when he presented the program, I thought it was just an ambitious program, but when he started taking questions from the journalists, I equally realized that the candidate Joshua Osei mastered very well what he has presented on paper and that he has given Cameroonians a lot of hope.
I think Osei Joshua said it clearly that he is open to the media and that he's going to work with the media. And you and I can agree that. Just the fact that he went as far as taking several questions, in fact from all media organs, is a show that Osei Joshua is a candidate that Cameroonians and especially the press is going to work with.
Osei Joshua addresses the media, digital transformation, culture, foreign affairs and more in his vision for Cameroon.
de créer de la richesse et des emplois du numérique.
And in what many have so far described as show of strength between Jiang and Jiang here in the country's economic capital, Douala, Jean-Michel Nincho, the littoral regional chairman of the Social Democratic Front, says that he would continue with his planned protest march despite the ban imposed on it by Jean-Marie Chakwi, that is the divisional officer for the Douala 1 subdivision. Honorable Jean-Michel Nincho called for the protest demonstration that was due to take place on the 15th of September 2018 to protest the presence of polling stations in military barracks and palaces here in the city of Douala. Let's have the details in the following report.
Pour le cas d'espèce, je crois que la meilleure façon de nous faire entendre, c'est de manifester.
Jean-Michel Nincho has said that he would ignore a decision by the divisional officer for Douala 1 banning an SDF planned protest scheduled for September 15th, 2018.
Manifester est un droit constitutionnel et ce n'est pas un sous-préfet qui va nous empêcher de jouir de ce droit.
The SDF Littoral Regional Chair remained categorical that the peaceful demonstration would go on as planned, describing the move by Jean-Marie Chakwi as unconstitutional.
Je dois vous dire que je n'ai pas été notifié, donc c'est vous qui m'apprenez que ma manifestation a été interdite. Je suis extrêmement surpris.
Jean-Marie Chakwi, deal for Douala 1 in the release, restricting the protest, said that the move was a threat to public order and called on the Social Democratic Front heads to channel their grievances to the right headquarters.
Le sous-préfet de Douala 1er, qui est décidément récidiviste en matière d'interdiction, ne peut pas.
But Jean-Michel Nincho has accused the duo of abuse of power, stating that it does not matter where the protest takes place.
Son rôle, n'est-ce pas, c'est de prendre acte.
The local administrators and police officers have as duty to accompany the demonstrators and prevent them from derailing from their initial objective, Jean-Michel Nincho added.
Encadrer la manifestation pour qu'il n'y ait pas de trouble à l'ordre public.
The SDF was to protest against the presence of some 16 polling stations in military barracks and palaces in the city of Douala. Less than 20 days to the day of the protest, another battle line has just been drawn between the two Jiangs in Vuri division of the littoral region. This is not the first time that a public demonstration by the Social Democratic Front, organized by Jean-Michel Nincho, is being banned by Jean-Marie Chakwi. And on a rather sad note, the industrialist, business tycoon and elite Foan Tonla Kajide Futso is no more. He died last night in a hospital in Johannesburg, South Africa after a long illness. Kajide Futso is president, founder and owner of the UCB brewery industry. He hails from Bana, Opankam division of the West region of Cameroon, where he has been mayor until his death. Kajide Futso died at the age of 95. It should be noted that he was mayor, as I indicated, of Bana subdivision, his hometown, and is one of Africa's greatest industrialists. The company he owns, that is the UCB brewery industry, controls a little over 15% of the country's beer market. We certainly will be telling you more on that in our subsequent newscast. Now traveling to Kwakwa, that is a village in Bonge subdivision, Meme of the Southwest region of Cameroon, is now possible. That is according to the senior divisional officer for Meme division, Tundong Chamberlain. He was speaking as he began distributing some different items destined to internally displaced persons in Kumba. The event was attended by a handful of internally displaced, as Manjikan Gabriel tells us in the following report.
It was at the amusement park in the Kumba 1 municipality that the senior divisional officer for Meme, Tundong Chamberlain, met with some of the internally displaced persons suffering as a result of the ongoing Anglophone crisis. Before the few who turned out, Tundong Chamberlain had these comforting words for them.
Fear continue to disturb many of you. You should not fear. The area is seriously secured. Even those who are coming from various quarters, you can realize together that we have increased security in town and even in some villages. those who are now going to Kwakwa.
The senior divisional officer was delighted after the exercise.
When the head of the nation is aware that we are suffering and decide to send support to the affected person, me like the first citizen of the division, I am very happy.
He also used the opportunity to send across this message.
Those who are afraid to come, you see, all those things are for them. They have just to come here, to turn green, come and collect their own share. The head of state is our father, and he's taking care of all the children. That is why we send this particular gift to my population in May.
The items distributed included mattresses, buckets, sleeping blankets, and a host of other items. The beneficiaries were also happy.
Help us to cover ourselves, to use the loin to cover ourselves.
As they give sunlight, because all of us suffer. We go for Nigeria hungry. Now I'm because I can't be toy for Kumbaya.
Kumba, should be recalled, has also been hit by the ongoing Anglophone crisis, with several lives lost and properties destroyed.
And on to another related story. Some displaced persons in Momo division of the northwest region of Cameroon have benefited from the humanitarian aid meant for internally displaced persons fleeing some conflict-hit localities in the northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. But the Muslim community were the prime beneficiaries of the first phase of the distribution exercise. Mbostella in the following report is going to be telling us that other displaced persons have been told to notify the DOs in their respective localities. DOs in the following story.
Over 6,000 people forced to flee their homes in Momo division of the Northwest region are living in internal displacements within and without the division. For every individual displaced due to the crisis, there exist stories of fear due to direct threats to their personal safety and security.
We noticed that the place was so insecure. Any family had to leave them. Why? Because you can hear guns at any time of the day or in the night.
The fortunate ones take shelter with family or friends. Others are forced to congregate in camps where they hope to find safety, food and shelter, thus making daily life difficult for the displaced persons and their host communities.
It's not forced going the way you've been used to living in the past. So you have to adapt to where you are, wherever you are, and considering the times too. So you're just trying to patch on life.
On a day when Muslims over the national territory are celebrating the Feast of the Ram, the senior divisional officer for Momo, Absolute Mononowuluwa, has begun in Bengui Central Subdivision with the distribution of humanitarian aid to some internally displaced persons. The all-Muslim beneficiaries, the administrator says, is for a reason.
We have started this distribution in Momo division today to coincide with the Feast of the Ram, when we know that our Muslim brothers and sisters are supposed to be celebrating and praying for Allah. And we know that amongst them, there are some who are suffering. And that is why we decided to start with you.
In order to benefit from the humanitarian assistance put in place by President Paul Biya, the SDO says,
to all of those our brothers and sisters who have been displaced and are living within Momo division, to have themselves identified at the level of the divisional office of their areas where they find themselves.
The start of the 2018-2019 academic year is 2 weeks away from now. Mr. Absolute Monono has this appeal for the population.
Where you are living, government has created schools. There are teachers. Make sure that your children come September 3rd when schools will be reopening.
The gifts of mattresses, blankets, toiletries, foodstuff and farm tools will go a long way to help these displaced persons whose only consolation for now is the fact that they have survived and escaped from the risk zones. While calling on Allah for peace to return, they have called on the government to speedily resolve the Anglophone crisis so they can regain their homes and continue with their activities.
That brings us to the end of this first segment of the news. Time for us to meet our guest tonight. Stay with us. We announced some few minutes ago that we are going to be joined by the spokesperson of the AYAH family and president of the AYAH Foundation, Mr. AYAH ABINE. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you for joining us tonight once again on Talking Point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mimi. You know how great I feel when I'm by you.
Thank you so much once again for coming. Mr. AYAH ABINE, you are just coming back from Nigeria. It's not your first trip to that part of the continent to see the condition of displaced persons from the conflicted northwest and the southwest regions of Cameroon. What were your observations?
Yeah, it's the 5th trip in 6 months. We thank God for the graces. I'll just give you an anecdote to explain what is happening there. Before going there on this 5th trip, AYAH and wife, the pioneer founders of the foundation, they instructed us to bring back some of our girls. So we had a big list of 50 people, and we ended up having a small list. We reduced it to 10 people. So I went there, and from amongst the 10, 7 were pregnant. Among the 7, my cousin. You saw the images, very painful memories. We came back with 2 of the refugees, girls. 1 is on the way. So that gives you an idea of what's happening there. The girls are getting pregnant, some of them through rape, like my cousin. The boys are begging on the streets to survive. Our great-grandparents and our grandparents are dying because of lack of medication and of hunger. Our mothers are doing the most despicable of things to feed their kids. That's what is happening in Nigeria. And the people back home who have a voice are rather talking politics and elections. It's a shameful thing.
So after going there and meeting these people, you've talked about their deplorable living conditions. Do you think that they are having the impression of ever maybe coming back to their respective localities, because the government has time and again indicated that the people should return to their respective localities and that peace has returned? We saw the ministers that have been visiting these regions recently indicating that the situation is normalizing. Is that the impression that you saw there in Nigeria?
How do people return to their localities when their houses have been burned down to ashes? How did they return to those same places when they have those memories of some of their family members burnt in houses? I don't think even in ancient Siberia or during the Second World War, the atrocities that are being committed in Anglophone Cameroon, if you can call it that way, were committed that time. People burned in their houses. How do people come home when the few try to come home and get some of their belongings to go back there and survive, because it's safer in Nigeria than in those Anglophone regions? How do they come when some of them who come are shot? We're told of a refugee who came into ÉQUINOXE to buy some foodstuff, and when they discovered he was a refugee and had a refugee card, he was arrested. How do those people come home? When did they come and stay? The houses are down to ashes.
So there are no accompanying measures put in place by the government to receive the refugees, so their comeback is not reassuring enough.
Anglophone lives do not matter to the government. If Anglophone lives mattered, the government would have at least acknowledged the presence of refugees over there. Look, it's been 2 years. We've had a number of speeches from those who matter. They are talking about refugees from another country who are up north and from another country that are in the east. They are going on national and international campaigns for them. And their own citizens, because I call those people Cameroonians until proof of the contrary, their nationality has not changed. Their own citizens, no noise, they don't care about them. They rather die there. That's the story. And I believe if all of them die there, that people in high places will be very happy. They don't care about them. They don't care about them at all.
There is the humanitarian aid initiative put in place by the government.
It's a sham.
To take care of internally displaced. Just started. You saw how gifts and foodstuff were being distributed to inhabitants of
20 people.
One of the most hit localities as far as this Anglophone crisis is concerned. We saw a similar gesture in Momo division of the northwest region of Cameroon, and the government is planning to do more. Why are you pessimistic about this initiative?
Mimi, it is better to believe salvation is coming tomorrow from heaven. I believe strongly that it's possible for Jesus to come down in flesh and blood tomorrow morning for the last judgment than to believe in this thing. It's a sham. What is the greatest humanitarian aid you can give to people than releasing their fathers, their brothers that are in detention? The whole nation, it's not just the Anglophones, are clamoring, release these people. Can you think of the stress that a mother, a sister, a brother is going through, going to detention 3 times a day? My dad was locked up when he was kidnapped by people, forces of law and order, locked up for 8 months. I know what it means. Going to detention 3 times, 4 times a day, feeding your dad, feeding your brother, feeding your mom. What greater relief can you give to a people than releasing your people that are in detention? They won't even need those things again, if at all they're even destined towards them. And you talk of humanitarian aid. The greatest thing that can be done is a ceasefire. So what are you doing? You're calling the hen is coming, you're giving him granules and whatever, corn and whatever, those grains. And when it comes very close, you get the kids and you kill them. The hen goes away. You send some more grains, you feed it very fat, so that you put to birth, bring more kids, comes and you kill them. The greatest thing that can be done is a ceasefire. You can't be killing people, burning people in the houses, and you're giving them corn. It's a shame. It's disgraceful.
Mr. AYAH, the United Nations High Commission for Refugees is equally in Nigeria, preoccupied about the situation of Anglophone refugees in Nigeria, like you earlier indicated. When you go there, what is your evaluation of the relief, supplies, aid from the UN, HCR so far to the displaced persons, to the refugees?
There are a number of places I've gone to that the UN has not stepped foot there, or when they've come in their luxurious air-conditioned cars, possibly to just come and get some images and whatever. They're trying, but it is far from, very far. I'm not sure they're providing 3% of the relief that is needed. I don't know their reasons, but I believe if they can cut down, it's just like what the government is doing. If they can cut down their expenditure on luxury, just the air conditioning in your cars, it can get sleepers for those kids that have sleepers. Okay, I went to Benue State. There I was stopped by them from giving food to our people. They stopped me. We didn't understand why. They made some calls and said we cannot give food. We need to go and ride to Abuja and wait for Abuja to authorize us to go and give our people food in Benue. And while they were saying that, my cousins, kids, they were running from the camps. They heard we had come. They came and embraced me, and I told them, look, these are even my cousins here. They said, no problem. Even though you're your cousins, you need to ride to Abuja to get permission from Abuja.
Did you finally
they sent me
accomplish
back.
Your mission?
No, they sent me back. Okay. So I delivered nothing to Benue State. A shame. And my aunt is there. Person who, I can say, brought me up and took care of my dad when he was growing. His sister, direct sister, in that camp, Mami Sofina, she's there with those kids. And look at the people they're taking care of. Mr.
AYAH, the problem is there. It has been going on for several months now. We are now seeking for solutions. Have you a series of proposals or recommendations that you could give to the government of Cameroon as per the problems of those that are internally displaced, the refugees in neighboring Nigeria? If you were to give some recommendations or solutions to this problem of refugees and internally displaced, what would be these recommendations?
Well, I don't know if those people even listen, because a lot of people have said the same things, and they are consistent in wrong. I don't know why they keep on being consistent in wrong. If I could just remind them, there is no way we can go about this without calling for a ceasefire. It's he who declares war that calls for a ceasefire. We know who declared war. And once you declare war, I hear people saying, no, the government has legitimacy in violence. How can you say that kind of a thing? Anyway, that's for them. Once you declare war, you recognize that there is somebody. If it's you, they just send some two people to come and pick you up, you and me. But they declare war, so they have recognized that there is some big body opposing their whatever on the other side. So they have to declare a ceasefire. Ceasefire! Ceasefire! And withdraw the troops. We don't need the troops there. The population of those areas is considering the troops as enemies. They are their enemies. They can pretend and say bonjour and bonsoir, but they are their enemies. They consider the enemy. That's why nothing is moving between both of them. And I don't know how on earth we would ever reconcile the harmony that existed between the population of those regions and the military ever again. Withdraw the troops. We need the police there. As the people who have done a lot of bogus say, the police is your friend, though in Cameroon is the contrary. But we need the police there, we don't need the troops.
To play their role as law enforcement
officials. Yes, and once you call for a ceasefire, if the other side does not respect the ceasefire, then you have every legitimacy to come in again and say, okay, we call for a ceasefire, and these people are not respecting the terms of the ceasefire. How do children even go to school?
In this atmosphere, like you said, about back to school, do you think that is suitable, comfortable enough for schools or classes to effectively resume in the two Anglophone regions. We saw the SDO for Momo Division calling on parents to ensure that their kids are sent to school come September 2018.
That's drama he was doing. I was in Munya Market yesterday. I went to Munya Market the day before. I was in great supermarket. You see, even the business people are telling you that they don't believe there will be school. There are no books or pens in the market. When we were going to school, Mimi, that time, those days ago, I was even asking you out that time. When we were going to school, 3 weeks before the school resumption. No, a month before. You see the books. They even knock your doors. All those people with those old books coming to buy books, exchange. There is nothing. So everybody believes that there is nothing. Nothing of such would happen. But I have a different opinion to this. You see, those advancing, those clamoring for the no school resumption, are hiding behind the safety alibi. It's not safe. I think that's the weakest of arguments to put forth concerning school resumption. Okay, where is safe? People have gone into hospitals, the no-go area, pulled out people in hospitals and shot them. Nurses have been killed. Ambulances are shot. Are the hospitals safe? No. Have we ghosted the hospitals? No. We're still going to the hospitals. The streets. The greater majority of deaths have been on the streets and in the bushes and the homes. You remember the Tebit? A whole family killed. Even a 1-year-old killed a whole family.
Yes,
have we
I should know that Barrister Bobala actually talked about it
good.
in his report.
A good guy doing a good job, Barrister Bala. Have we ghosted the homes? No. Have we ghosted the streets? No. Are they safe? No. The churches, the no-go area, men of God have been killed. The churches have been attacked. One of them, to the knowledge, has been burned.
So what can be done?
I'm coming. So, are the churches safe? No. Are people going to church? Yes. So, the safety complaint is the weakest complaint you can put forth to say people should not go to school. I prefer saying this. We are humanitarians. We are about saving and preserving lives and improving on human life. So we can only say education for everybody. What do I mean? Those in the bushes need education. It's not just education for those in towns and those in the French-speaking part. Those in the bushes, education for them. Those in the refugee camps, they need to come back and go to school. Those in detention, my good friend Babila, a young guy, he was picked up and just taken to Kondengi. What's this guy? We don't even know. He too student. He needs to go to school. And those, all of them, Mr. Yuktabe, his cabinet had said, the manchos, the parents and all that, they are parents. They need to be out of detention
to send their children to school. But under what conditions? That remains the question, right?
When there is a ceasefire,
there's going to be possibility
everything
for classes.
Will be possible.
Thank you so much, Mr. AYAH. ABINE for joining us tonight on Talking Point due to time constraints. Obviously, we'll get to talk about this more and more in our subsequent newscast. Thank you so much for traveling all the way from Yaoundé to come and talk about this situation of the refugees and internally displaced. Thank you so much.
It's a wonderful thing to be by you.
Thank you so much to our viewers. It was equally a pleasure having you with us in this edition of the Primetime Newscast on Equinox Television. Wishing you a blessed stay in the company of our programs. Until we meet again, goodbye.